My cousin, he passed away. He used to do the fireworks up here on Harrison Street in my aunt's yard for us when we was little.
When we talk about be bold, we usually talk about things like, how do we colonize Mars? But then when we say things like free health care for all, or we say things like housing is a human right, we tend to say things like get real.
So we decided to keep on doing that legacy of the fireworks with family members in the neighborhood.
Okay, I love that. We say get real in a very demoralizing type of way. But when we hear things like we're going to outer space, be bold. Flying cars, be bold. Housing for all, get real. And I gotta ask ourselves, why do we do that? Why is that the way of thinking? Why is that the box we've been placed at here in America? Why can't, when I say housing is a human right or universal basic income, why can't we take that same boldness to sitting around the table, using data, using lived experience, using historical context to figure out those things that we can put in place to make life better?
All right, we'll have you put this mic on.
Okay, how's that?
You're talking to me, not camera. Okay, recording.
So the Charlotte Regional Data Trust, think about it as a research hub.
I would describe the Charlotte Data Trust as the place where we put data from big systems that serve children and families.
And give that back to community researchers, give that to faculty researchers, give it to our own researchers, and ask them to answer questions with it.
The Charlotte Regional Data Trust. First of all, I think that's a very bold name. Whenever you have data and trust in the same name, the same sentence, you better be doing some things to make sure that trust is established.
The UNC Charlotte Urban Institute is our region's applied research center. The way the two organizations work together is really kind of symbiotic, because the Data Trust brings this really crucial data for the community, and the UNC Charlotte Urban Institute brings researchers and the capacity to actually use the data.
But it is there to shepherd and care for and make sure that the Data Trust has the resources it needs to continue to do the good work in the community.
So combining data is very powerful because any community or societal issue is multifaceted.
The problems that we face don't exist in one organization. They don't exist in one sector. If you're talking about homelessness, that is a housing issue, that is a health issue, that's an education issue, that's a mental health issue.
When you're dealing with a child or a family that's in crisis, often we only see a snapshot. We see one piece of their lives. And that then leads us to develop programs and policies that really are inadequate and piecemeal. We want to impact that child's life holistically, but we're only looking at, let's say, their educational outcomes, and we're not understanding their housing situation or whether they've had involvement with the social services system. Then we're really missing the boat on how to best support that family. And so an integrated data system allows us to really pull back, get on the balcony, and see the big picture. I've lived in Charlotte my whole life. It's a city that has grown and changed more than you can hardly get your head around. And there are a lot of people suffering in this community. There are a lot of people that can't afford housing, that struggle to put food on the table.
We want to make sure that the data that we're talking about is representative of the people in the data. It's literally about all of us understanding what these community issues are and how we work together to solve them.
So number one, I'm a resident of the Lakeview neighborhood, and I have been elected to be the executive director of the Lakeview Neighborhood Alliance. We're trying to create a model that can be replicated in other neighborhoods of concentrated poverty across the city of Charlotte and hopefully throughout the nation. So I think when we look at those numbers, when we look at that data, we have to always remember that those are people represented in that data. And I don't think nobody in this room, nobody wants to be reduced down to just being a number.
People have to trust that, not only are we going to keep it safe, not only are we going to ensure privacy, but that we're going to actually also use it for community benefit, because this kind of effort without use is somewhat empty.
We are living in a time where it is very hard to trust the information that you see before you. And I think it's really important for Charlotte to have a place where we as a community do trust those data. We do know they're going to be accurate, and we know that we have a partner that is trying to solve the same problems that we are.
I think the vision for our future is pretty clear. We want to be that trusted source for data.
The future of the Urban Institute and the Data Trust is proactive and relentless use of the data.
We have an opportunity to really see change for children and families because we would be using data in a comprehensive way and in a holistic way instead of guessing, instead of throwing darts at the wall, instead of using anecdotes to inform what we're doing. And I think that then has the power to transform millions of lives.
I think it's going to be on us as a part of the board to make that vision clear. I think it's going to be on the funders to understand that vision. I think it's going to be on the funders to be willing to reimagine how they look at data, reimagine who should have access to that data, reimagine how they see people.
If I look ahead a couple of decades, I would hope to look back at this moment and say, hey, look at all of the donors and partners that allowed this investment to happen, which then helped us really get some things on track for the better.
I think it's really important for institutional partners that are going to be here for a long time to stick with something like this. The Foundation for the Carolinas isn't going anywhere. United Way isn't going anywhere. And to have those kind of pillars take part in and continue to invest in and champion something like the Data Trust will ensure its sustainability.
We've spent a lot of time in the last 3 to 5 years thoughtfully building out our infrastructure, thoughtfully staffing up, thoughtfully putting the investment of a number of donors and building relationships with people who are in the data. And that work will continue, but it's time for us to pivot to use.
A thriving Charlotte looks like a city where everybody can achieve. Every child born today can reach their full potential.
My hope for future generations in Charlotte is that we can see each other's humanity. And I think data are a really powerful way that we can see each other's humanity if we let ourselves.
All of our initiatives, our highest hopes, our North Star, our resources, all of that is happening. When you observe that things come together, I think that that's when you lean in.
The most exciting thing about Charlotte's future is what we can do when we collaborate together and have tools like the Data Trust to put to use.
The Charlotte Regional Data Trust is a powerful partner in our community for change.
I imagine a Charlotte where you can grow up here or move here and you have the same opportunity.
So I think the future of Charlotte, and when I think about a strong Charlotte, is when you can't tell when I'm out at the store, when I'm at the mall, you can't look at me and you can't say, I bet you he from the West Side. That negative image is not formed in your mind. When we can look at the data and we can't predict someone's future based on their skin color and their zip code, that's a stronger Charlotte. When opportunity is universal in Charlotte, no matter race, color, or creed, I think that's a very stronger Charlotte. And I carry this photo in my pocket every day that has kids laughing. And this is my reminder of why I do what I do. So this is what I imagine. I imagine a place, a neighborhood, a community where we're seeing this each and every day. Kids are excited about life, excited about their future, and they know they have positive relationships with adults that can help bring that to fruition. So that's what I imagine it to be.